Hello.
Hi. Welcome back to
Welcome to
Gabbing It
Gabbing
Up.
It Up.
This is what, episode
Girl, I'm losing
5?
track. I'm losing
I feel like it's
track.
5.
I
Or
I
is it
think it's
6?
I think it's 6.
Wow.
That's crazy of us.
That is crazy. Okay.
Today we're going to be talking about toxic positivity.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like a Debbie Downer topic a little bit. Like, oh, you're going to shit on people being positive, like for real. Well, we're going to make it a little bit lighter. We're still going to have the deep intellectual conversations, but
Mhm.
we wanted to make it like a little funny, little girly, little Gabby chat as we do. So we are aggressively high.
Just really inebriated. Like
Mhm. On legal substances.
yes, legal
I
substances.
purchased this at a store, so nobody can come for me.
I'm 21 now, guys, so I'm in the clear.
Yeah. We're in the clear. We're good. But before we get into today's topic, as always, let's run through our little updates, starting with our I'm already slurring my words. Starting off with a personal update from each of us. What have you had going on in the past week?
Okay, so the first thing is I feel like I need to update on this because I feel like it's been a saga. I'm still doing well in Spanish. I'm still
Okay,
doing
good.
well. And I feel like I keep talking about it, but that's because it really stresses me out. I swear every time I walk into that class, I literally just start sweating and like shaking because I get so anxious. Like that classroom makes me anxious. Like I hate it. But I'm still doing well. I don't know how because me and this girl, we had to film a video for our test of us talking to each other with no planning, like just off the cuff. And I kept being like, like I have nothing to say. And I still got a 93.
As you
So
should.
I was like, okay, well, maybe I actually do know something. Also, I think you would be proud because I watched all of Who the Fuck Did I Marry?
Thoughts.
It's so crazy, but the craziest part to me is I keep talking to people about it, and most people haven't like seen it all the way through, and they're like blaming Risa Tisa or like just like saying all these really crazy things, like oh, it's just
Yeah.
crazy or like she should have known better, and I'm like,
Mhm.
what?
I've heard the same kind of narratives. The victim blaming narrative is insane to me. Like
No, yeah,
I don't know, maybe it's just because of, like, the way that I think and the way that my circle of people around me think, but I, like, just kind of assumed everyone's on board with the fact that she's a victim, and that is just not true. Like, so many people are like, "Well, if it were me, like, I would have seen the signs." Like, just because somebody's not seeing the signs doesn't mean that it's their fault something happened to them.
no, yeah, and they keep talking about the fact that she moved in with him really early because of COVID, and I was like, okay, but it was COVID, like
And we
everything was
were all
different.
in trauma. That was a collective worldwide trauma. Everyone was in fight or flight. She was trying to protect herself. Of course, thinking in a global crisis, you're going to want to move in with a man to protect yourself, have a dual income.
Yes.
Like, we didn't know what the world was going to be like.
No, literally, and it's just crazy to me, like, even somebody close to me is from Atlanta, and she was like, "Oh, that's just all the men in Atlanta," and I was like,
To that level?
I don't think so. I don't
No.
think so."
A pathological liar.
Literally, like, it's bad, and
Horrible.
this is coming from someone who, like, I hate to admit this, but I love to lie. Like, I'm a liar. I love to lie.
Deja, stop.
I'm being
I
serious.
No, no, same. I agree with you because I told Cameron the other day, like, being real, but also like being funny and quirky and cute. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a liar," and he got so mad at me. Like, we low key almost got into a fight because he was like, "What do you lie about? Like, are you lying to me? Like, are you just a liar?" And I was like, "No, yeah, I'm like, I kind of am a little bit of like a liar sometimes, but like mostly to like service workers." I don't know. Like sometimes a demon enters my body and I lie. I make up a different name. Sometimes I speak with an accent. I always have
Mhm.
a different job. I always have a sister. I don't know.
I don't know what it is. Like, something
But
about
there's a
lying
difference
is just
between
wrong.
that.
That and what he was doing.
Mm,
'Cause everything I'm sorry, the being on the phone calls is what sent me. That's what sent me to a different universe is because pretending and
mm.
faking to be on phone calls like he, ha 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 is so crazy to me. I'm just
Well, she
confused.
was asleep.
Like, I'm confused. Like, how can somebody keep up that charade for so long? Charade? What did people say?
Charade.
I feel like
Charade,
I've heard
charade.
I feel like I've heard people say charade, and that's why I'm confused.
I've never heard
You've never
charade.
heard that? I literally heard people say that.
I
I'm
don't think
so
it's like
serious.
I don't think it's tomato, tomato. I think it's just charade.
I swear I've heard people say that. I swear I'm not losing my marbles.
Charade, charade. Oh, we're gonna be giggly girls this episode.
We are.
We've never filmed the podcast inebriated, so this is a
No,
first. Y'all
this is a
y'all will have to
first.
let us know if you like it.
Yeah,
Or
but
if
that
you
was so
don't,
crazy.
because they will let
Yeah,
us know if they don't. They
they
will.
will let us know if they don't.
Yeah.
But it's just so crazy the way that he lied to her. But did you see that she's going to London and Paris? Did you
I didn't
see?
see that. I did not
She's
see
going
that.
to London and Paris, and different hotels in London and Paris were typing in her TikTok comments and were like, "Blank is entering the chat." I'm like, "Give her a free vacation." And literally, did you see that? What was it? Wasn't it she wanted a BMW?
Yeah.
BMW posted a TikTok about like on the way to find a whatever the car with the cognac, whatever interior
Cognac.
cognac. I really can't say that word either.
You did it
Cognac.
beautifully. You did it.
Thank you. But they were trying to find that car and they posted a TikTok about that. So people are like, are they gonna give her a free car?
I think she deserves it. I mean, for sharing her story like that, she's so brave. And yeah, I'm just glad
Yeah.
that she's healing and she's getting everything that she deserved and everything that she was unfortunately promised that she never got.
Yeah, I think she deserves it for sure. Okay, I have 2 more updates. The next
Sure.
one is I got an internship as a sexual assault case management intern for the summer. I'm really excited because I have to take an internship to graduate. Like, we literally have to do a class and everything, so I had to but, like, she was like, "Oh, here are your options. I'm gonna pair one person with one organization or, like, how many people they can accept, and just, like, go get the internship." Like, I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
"Huh?" Because I had to take it to graduate, and it's, like, a class that we have to take, so I thought
Yeah.
they would, like, be a little bit more involved. No, and, like, the email that she gave me literally bounced back with another email being like, "We're not even here anymore, contact this person." They were like, "Oh, we don't even have her contact information." So, like, they knew nothing about this lady. So I literally got the internship, like, 100% by myself.
You slayed!
Yes, I'm
And
so excited.
you're gonna be working a difficult job, but I think
I
you're well
know.
suited for it. I think you're approachable and warm and just bubbly and sweet, and you're the person that I would wanna talk to if I went through something difficult, like, just that smiling face.
Aw, you're just so sweet. Literally, my mom earlier today, she was just like, "I'm just, like, so proud of you." And I'm like, "Why is everybody gassing me up today? Why
Because you
is
deserve
everybody
it.
gassing me up?
That's
Stop."
why, because you deserve it.
Okay, and then my last update is that, unfortunately, despite all these things, I've been in my rotting era.
That's crazy because I have a similar update. What are you doing while you're rotting?
Girl sleeping.
Sleep rotting.
Sleep rotting.
Oh, okay, there's a difference between, like, rotting day," and, like, sleep rotting.
No, I've been sleep rotting, like, I think one day I was up for, like, 6 hours. Like, no lie. Like, sleep rotting.
18. Clocked in.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
bad,
living
and I lost
Boba's
2
life.
nails. Like, what's
Oh,
going on?
oh no.
There's omens happening.
I'm worried. It's something about the moon or the stars.
There's something going on, and I had, like, a migraine for, like, 2 days, and I
Yeah,
had, like, the worst period of, like, my entire life at the same
girl.
time, and I was like, "Uh-uh." Like, I just can't be awake.
Okay, me right now. For the viewers and listeners at home, we were actually supposed to record yesterday, and I my cramps were so bad, I just had to lay down. And I have also been in my rotting era. Not sleeping, actually, I've been staying up till 3 in the morning, but not
Oh.
being crazy. Like, usually when I'm staying up till 3 in the morning, it's giving, like, she's going manic. Mm-mm.
Mhm.
I've been rotting until 3 AM, and I don't even realize that it's 3 AM because I'm just so relaxed, and I go in our bedroom, which has no windows, so I'm like, I have no concept of time, that all of a sudden it's 3 AM, and I'm like, "Okay, let me put my Switch away and I'll go to sleep." Like, I'm calling it my cozy era because
Mm.
I'm bundled up with my Nintendo Switch, and I am being healthy about it, I would like to think. Maybe I'm being delusional, you can clock me if I am, but I am getting up in the morning relatively early, I'm going to the gym every single day, I'm eating my salad for lunch every single day, I'm doing my matcha shot, I'm drinking my Olipop instead of any, like, bad drinks. I and then after I complete my and she knows. For
I wanted
those
to
that are
try them.
listening, they're so good. Daijah has what do you have, cream soda?
Uh-huh, the cream soda one's good. Ginger ale lost me.
I haven't tried that one. Cherry
Ginger ale?
cola, that's my go-to, and I add a little vanilla Torani syrup in a cherry cola Olipop. That is my favorite little treat with crushed
Mm.
ice in a glass with a glass straw. It has to be that, or I can't drink it. I'm not even kidding. I'm being so
I
serious. If
really believe you.
mine isn't like that, I won't touch it. I tried to drink it out of the can and I spat it out and I said, "Where's my glass with my crushed ice and my glass straw? Give it."
Uh-uh.
I can't. I will be a brat about it because I if I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to do it the way I want it.
Real.
So, I've been healthy, but then when everything all the health things are done, lights off, twinkle lights on, Nintendo Switch, Squishmallow behind me, I'm in bed, I'm gaming, I'm playing.
I'm I'm glad that you're doing it healthily because I swear I didn't move for like 4 days.
That's how I feel too, but it's really just after the routine is done. Do you have a routine that you could get into?
Yeah, I do. I think it's because it was, like, over the weekend and
Mhm.
stuff like that. I think that's why, for the most part. I feel like once I go back to school tomorrow, the week starts. I think I'll be back. But, spring break starts for me on Friday before we're filming this, and I only have 1 in-person class on Thursday and no classes on Wednesday. My classes on Wednesday got canceled. So I'm like, "Should I just skip the class on Thursday and just make it extra long?"
I mean, why
Then I have a
not?
2-day week. I really would have a
Yeah,
2-day week.
I think you should do it.
Because the in-person class, when I tell you, it makes me wanna rip my eyelashes out of my eyes.
Not
Like,
trichotillomania. She said it's
no,
so bad it's gonna
literally
give me trick.
no, because the professor gives us these 30-page long research articles to read, and we read them, whatever, and then we go into the lecture, and she just lectures on the research articles. Like, she literally is like, "This was the methods. This was the findings." I'm like, "I just read this. I don't need you
Right.
to say this again." So it makes me literally wanna rip the eyelashes out of my eyes because I get so bored.
I get
And
that
she'll be like,
because
"Make sure everybody's paying attention."
oh,
I'm playing The Sims on my computer.
I'm gonna personally travel to Riverside FM headquarters and commit a murder.
They're, like, listening right now.
What if they are? Riverside? Just kidding. We have to leave this in now because it's funny, but I'm not serious. If any Riverside people are listening, here's the thing, just improve your fucking site. Um, but that is all alleged. I'm not gonna actually do anything to you. The other thing that's taking over my entire life is a
Mhm.
book series. Who's fucking surprised? It's always another book
Which
series.
one?
The Witsex series.
Wait, what's the first book in
By
that?
It's called Find Me. It's by Ashley
Oh,
N.
that
Ross
series.
Tech.
That series.
Mhm. It's dark romance. It's phenomenal. Reverse harem about a girl who went through horrible serial killer trauma and the man is still on the loose. And so in order to protect her and help her heal, she gets 4 boyfriends and they're all brothers and they're all hot.
I love that.
And it's amazing. It's a 4-book series. I'm not even really a dark romance girly, but I fear I'm being converted.
There's some really good dark romance out there.
There
Me
is. There are no saints. Also, here's another update for you. I'm gonna look crazy. If you're watching the video version, just prepare yourself because I got these anti-wrinkle straws. They really just work with my lip injections. That's the thing. That's the reason why I got them because I don't want to fuck up my lips. Um, Look at this.
What the hell is that?
The water comes out of here, out of the top of this bar. So I
That
don't
is
go
such
like this. I go like
a
that.
weird straw.
Lip injection girlies get it. The girls who get it.
No.
The girls who get it.
No. Do you have any more updates?
We can talk about TikTok shop.
Oh, TikTok shop.
I
TikTok
hit my
shop. I love
pen the
her.
other night. It was bad. It was really bad. I spent $85,
It
which
be like that. It really does.
if you're familiar with the TikTok shop, then you know like it's hard to spend $85 cuz everything is like 2
Is
cents.
it?
The stuff that
I
comes
don't
up
think
on
so.
mine,
There's some clothes and stuff that are like $20 each.
I don't buy that.
I don't feel like I do either. If it's not less than $10, I'm not buying it.
Same. That's literally my cutoff is $10. The only thing that I bought that was more than $10 was this little like digital camera, quote unquote. It's literally the weirdest thing. You turn it on and it says hello, HULLO. And then it's like it has 2 camera functions. It's the most basic weird little camera ever. You turn it off and it says bye bye on the screen. Bye bye. I think it's so funny. Um, but apparently it takes like those Y2K kind of like iconic digital
Yeah.
camera style photos. So I've yet to test it out, but I guess we'll see. I got these earrings from the TikTok shop. I got my lip gloss from the TikTok shop.
Yeah.
I
I'm
got
actually going to
everything.
another wedding and I
Oh,
got my dress for it from TikTok shop.
okay, that's a bold. I don't know if I would trust that.
That's why I got it the wedding's in May. So I got
Okay,
it now
advance.
and
Yes,
I tried
smart.
it and it looks really cute.
You have it?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, does your TikTok shop stuff ship quickly and like arrive to you swiftly?
I feel like it does.
That's what I said too. Like mine gets here within the week. I don't
No,
know where
yeah, for sure.
Cameron must not be ordering from the good places cuz he ordered me one thing and it took like a month.
A month?
Yeah. And he was like, "I think I might have got scammed on this mug." And I was like, "It's TikTok shop. Like it's not a scam."
So people are literally selling books on TikTok shop now.
I saw
Like
that. I don't know
authors?
about the ethics of that. Is it the authors?
I've seen the authors selling them.
Well, I guess
Like
that's
indie
good.
published
Like
authors?
direct from the author. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah,
I
it's
love
really
it.
taking over. And here's the thing that like really grinds my gears is like some of the stuff that I bought literally will come in a Shein bag or a Timu bag. And it's like all the girlies are dragging people who support Shein and Timu, obviously, because they're like not ethical. But I'm sorry, if that's your only option, then that's your only option. But then they're fine shopping on TikTok shop. It's like, you know, it all comes from the same place. Also, you know, Savage X Fenty literally does the same thing. It's like no matter who you try to support, it's gonna be fucked up. Does that make the fucked upness okay? But no. But you shouldn't come for the little people who are just trying to survive in a capitalistic society.
I agree. I hate capitalism with a passion.
What about pop culture? Any updates for you that you wanted to share with me?
Yes. So do you know JC Caitlin?
Yes.
So there was this thing that happened where he is a Twitch streamer now. That's like what he
Okay.
primarily does. And
Pivot.
he was like searching something up in the like on his computer to show his fans whatever, and people started clocking him and then going back to other streams and seeing when he searched things up, there's like a weird pattern in his search history where he keeps looking up like blank blank OnlyFans leak. And some of the people that he was looking up are literally friends with his fiance. Like, he knows them personally. And he was looking up, like, OnlyFans leak of their stuff.
Why wouldn't he just pay? Like, he's rich.
I know, but I think it's because they don't want like, if these are people that he knows, he doesn't want them to know that he's signing up.
Make a fake Gmail. Like, it's not that hard. That's the thing that really pisses me off is like men are gonna be shitty, men are gonna be cheaters, men are gonna be skeevy. That shit doesn't surprise me anymore. But to be so bold as to have that in your search history when you're an influencer
Yeah,
who's gonna be streaming your screen.
like, why is he
Make the
doing that on
fake
his streaming
Gmail.
computer?
I don't know. He could have been bananaboy123 at gmail.com, but he's too
Yeah, I
stupid,
just
I
thought that
guess.
was kind of crazy.
That is
Because I was
crazy.
like, not people that your fiance is literally friends with.
That's sad. Here's my thing. I was gonna try to top your crazy. Do you have more pop culture?
I have one more.
Let's try to top each other. Let's see if it gets crazier
I
and
don't think
crazier.
mine's gonna top.
I have two that could top, so maybe I'll just be the top. I'll be topping
I'll
today.
be the bottom.
Yeah, we told y'all this is a queer podcast. Um, a girl died. This is a true crime case. So not really pop culture, but it was in the news and I was shook and shaken and stirred. A young girl, I believe she was 18, little white girl. I think she's from Virginia, died summoning a voodoo god.
How do you just die doing that?
Okay, so here's the story. You know Papa Legba?
Yes, I feel like I do.
He is the mystical magical voodoo man that they talk about in AHS Coven. I
Yes.
believe he also inspired, like, the trickster guy from Princess and the Frog.
Yes.
I love voodoo lore. I have a voodoo adjacent symbol tattooed onto me, because it's for the movie Bride of Chucky. But anyway, I think voodoo is so interesting. I have both my sides of my family are from Louisiana. I think it's so cool. It's something I've gone down like hyperfixation rabbit holes for, but I've never tried to partake in voodoo. Number one, because that's not really my family, that's not really my background, that's not really my culture. So I
Mhm.
just don't really feel like I need to do that. But also, like, I think it's more entertaining and interesting and like fun to be curious about, less to engage with. Like that actually sounds terrifying to me to like interact with gods from another world. So I will
Mhm.
actually opt out. Well, this girl was not opting out. She is one of those little girls who is like, I'm a witch. And it's not just like in a cute Lana Del Rey crystal way. It's like in a, oh, concerning way. I don't know
Mm.
where her parents were. I don't know what was going on, but she had a friendship breakup with one of her friends who was a little girl of color. I believe she was black, maybe mixed. I don't know. I just saw a photo of her, but she was trying to hex her friend with Papa Legba. So she
And
summoned
she died?
Papa and she died.
Just instant on spot.
It was like a day later or something, and it was completely unexplained. The only possible connection they could find, and like voodoo experts have weighed in and said, like, this is Papa Legba. Y'all should not be trifling around in things that don't belong to you. I was literally shook. I read that news story and got chills and literally sat in a chair and couldn't move for 20 minutes.
No, that's really scary. That's terrifying.
Because imagine you have a little child like me, if I had access to the internet when I was watching AHS Coven and I just, like, had my little hyperfixation mode come in a little bit early, and I was like, "Hee hee ha," that could've been me. So if you're a
No.
parent, watch your kids, make sure they can separate the internet from fiction, from reality, and don't get involved in these things because it reminded me of like I haven't been so shaken by a case that I've seen in the news since the Slender Man case.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
giving me vibes of that, like, little girls who are hyperfixating in horror, which is like, we do that, but it takes it to a level where it's actually so dangerous and so terrifying.
Yeah, it is. Okay, my next one is about James Charles.
Okay.
So, do you know Call Her Daddy?
Yes.
And you know how it used to have 2 hosts?
Wait, no. I thought Alex was the only host of Call Her Daddy. I almost said Call Your Daddy.
No, it originally started off with 2 hosts,
Oh,
Alex and Sophia, and they were the founding fathers.
I
There
didn't
was
know.
2 of them.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so there used to be 2 Call Her Daddy hosts, and they had a big falling out, it was huge, and everybody took Alex's side. Nobody liked Sophia, and Sophia has done since problematic things apparently. I don't know too
Mhm.
much about it, but Sophia has since started her own podcast that nobody listens to or cares about. And so, James Charles went on to this podcast and was talking about the allegations against him of talking to underage boys. And he kept defending himself to the very end. He just kept being like, "Yeah, it was just like really hard. And like, I understand I made a mistake when I didn't check IDs, but like, that's it."
He said this on Call Her Daddy?
No, this is Sophia Franklin, the other ex host of Call Her
Oh,
Daddy's podcast.
he couldn't even book the big one.
Nope.
And he is trying to do this redemption arc because he put out his, like, makeup brand or whatever. I just think
Yes.
it's insane the way that he keeps trying to, like, dig his heels in. Like, just say that Tati
Just let
clocked you
go.
in by a sister and apologize and let it go. But it's not even that. Like, he's so deluded in thinking that he's not doing anything wrong that he continues to do it. It's like every other week that I see somebody on my FYP that's like, "Here's screenshots of James Charles trying to get me to send him something." Like,
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
I was the CEO of Instagram and Snapchat, I would simply ban James Charles from my platform. Like, if you're not going to stop and you're going to keep defending yourself, even when you quote unquote apologize, it's always giving like the way that a man apologizes when he fully doesn't want to apologize and he's convinced that he has to just to get what he wants. You know what I mean? Like the
Mhm.
first time that he apologized in his No More Lies or whatever video, where he was like, "This is really embarrassing to say, but I'm desperate."
Stop.
When I heard that for the first time, I literally had to pause it and walk away. I literally hit that space bar on my laptop and I just walked away. I was like, "I can't
No,
do this
literally,
today."
because what do you mean you're desperate? What the fuck does that mean?
I'm desperate, so I sexually harass
Prey
minors,
on children?
allegedly. Yeah. That's the craziest thing to say. That's like me committing a theft and then being like, "I'm sorry, I needed a car," or "I'm sorry, I was hungry." Like, it doesn't matter. It's not a victimless crime.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it makes
Oh,
my blood boil.
anyways,
I
that
hate
had
that. I'm
me
gonna
really
have to
triggered.
yeah, I'm gonna have to hate watch that podcast.
The clips were crazy that I saw.
Mm, that boils my blood. Um, I have a sad one. I just wanted to
Oh,
touch on
no.
it. I know. I'm sorry. I love Wendy Williams with all my heart and all my soul. Did you watch her documentary?
Okay. I didn't watch it.
Mm, you should. It shines a lot of light on just like who she is as a person and her story. I have been obsessed with her for so long. I love her. She has
Mhm.
dementia. It's so scary.
She has dementia?
Yes, and, like, real diehard fans, we have known that something's going on for a while, like, things would happen. I mean, obviously, the moment that, like, everybody knows about with her in the Statue of Liberty getup when she collapsed on the ground,
Yeah.
people were trying to explain that away because she was under tremendous stress at the time. She was in an abusive situation with her partner. So, nothing was confirmed. Nobody knew, like, the real reason for that incident, but people were saying on the Wendy Williams subreddit, which I frequent, that she had some type of dementia, and she does, and it's really sad. Like, I just hope that she has people around her that really care about her because watching the videos of how she is now, like, she just seems like a totally different person, and I am, like, grieving. Like, I've never had this kind
Mhm.
of a feeling, like, um oh my god. When Kobe passed away, Cameron was, like,
Oh.
in a tizzy about it. Like, he was actively grieving, and I've just never had that, like, with a celebrity. I've never felt a connection so strong with somebody who's passed, who's, like, famous. But when I saw this video of Wendy, she's talking to her assistant, and there's just nothing happening. Like, you can tell she's trying to be her, but it's like she's actively fighting the demon that's taking over because she'll just say anything that comes into her mind. Like, she's talking to her sweet assistant who's trying to hear her out and, like, care for her and whatever, and then she'll just go, "I wish you would get liposuction." And you just see in her face, it'll pop out and she'll go, and it's like she's not in control of herself. So number 1, I'm terrified of ever getting dementia. But number 2, I just had this, like, pit in my stomach of, like, "Oh my god, this iconic treasure of a woman who has made me laugh and entertained us all for so long and been such a voice for women in a male-dominated industry on the radio." She's leaving us. So, I'm grieving
That's so
Wendy.
sad.
Yeah. And if anyone else out there is feeling sad about it, just know you're not alone because I love her so much. And you should watch the documentary. Everyone should watch the documentary, even if you're just, like, slightly interested in her, because she really changed the game and made a place for women in the radio industry where there wasn't before. Like, before it was always like Sirius XM. Like, that was the only thing that women had a
Mhm.
place for in radio. And Wendy would say the shit, she would be so real to people's faces. She changed the world in her industry. So, love her.
Wow, that is so sad.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
It's so hard, like, seeing all these people. I feel like the people that we grew up with are now, like, aging. Like, Celine Dion with all of her problems,
Mhm.
Wendy now. It's really fucking sad.
Yeah, my mom actually has been telling me, like, every time I talk to her, she's like, "Oh, yeah, another person I used to work with died." And I'm like, "Mom, what?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm, like, really scared." And I'm like, "I'm scared." Like, "You're making me terrified. Like, you're actually scaring me." She's like, "I just hope I make it to past retirement."
I hope I make
Mom,
it. Mm-mm, don't
no.
say that, don't
Mom,
say
no.
that. Don't say that, mom. Don't.
No. It's just been so sad, like, I definitely feel you when you're saying, like, everybody's just, like, aging, and it's just
Yeah.
so strange.
I don't know if it's just because 'cause I'm high, but I've been having little mini existential crises about aging. Like, did you see that absolutely unhinged thing I put on my story the other day?
What did you put? Maybe I saw it. I don't
I
remember.
was high the night before, and I wrote in a note, "3 decades, dot, dot, dot."
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, I didn't put that on my story because I was a little embarrassed about it, but I had a little chuckle to myself when I woke up, and I was trying to think, like, what was I thinking in that moment? Because I knew I was going through it. I'm not 30, so I'm, like, 3 decades. Here's the thing, I had the high thought that it's 2024, that's a decade, like, the 20s. I
Yeah.
also lived in 2014. That was the 2010s, and I also lived in 2004.
Oh, I saw that.
So I put on my Instagram story a photo of me in 2004, 2014, and 2024, and I said something crazy. I was like, "Time passes on."
I did see you post that, and I was like, "Okay."
It wasn't like somebody's template, you know, those Instagram story templates? It wasn't that. It was just me just being weird about getting old and like grieving celebrities I don't know and posting that with the TikTok sound, "Where'd all the time go?" Like,
No.
I made my own existential template. One more piece of pop culture news. This is something that I've seen trending for a little while now, and it's very rare that like somebody makes a commentary video and it's like I actually lived through that, like I remember the event that they're talking about, but it happened where I remember it. People are making commentary videos or they're live streaming themselves watching Kid Nation. Do you know what this is? This show?
Kid Nation. I feel like I've heard about it, but I never watched it.
So, me and my family, when Kid Nation came out, we set that shit in our calendars. Like, we all sat down as a family. I think this was even before my parents got divorced, so I was little. And we would all watch Kid Nation as it came out, episode by episode. It was like Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. We were sat watching it. We had favorites, we had like teams we were rooting for. Little did we know at the time, we were literally watching kids be abused and go through major trauma, because that's why everyone's watching it back and reacting to it now, is like this crazy concept of like, how was this on television, how is this allowed, da 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 da. And I'm watching all this content coming out now thinking, holy shit, me and my family were like, we were making bets on which kid's gonna survive the night. It is so dystopian, it is so crazy. So if you don't know what Kid Nation is, I should probably explain it. It
Yeah.
is a reality show where it's basically Survivor with children. And all these children are just put in this little town and they're told, here, survive in a ghost town. And we're basically going to see if kids could survive and create a society on their own. And they split them up into little like factions. There's like the pauper class, the working class, the merchant class, and the upper class. And so, of course, like a Lord of the Flies esque situation unfolds. People were like dragging certain kids for them literally just being scared kids with no resources who were like being little brats because they were terrified and like wanted their mom and their blanket. Like, it's a trip to go back and watch. I was just so shook because at the time, me as a little kid, I was like, this is normal. This is good TV.
No,
Where'd
those are
all the
children.
time go? Starting to fly. I can't.
Mm-mm.
Somebody should not let me record with my pen because we will get existential really quick. So, yeah, if you're ever wanting to go down a rabbit hole of like something that was culturally acceptable in 2008 that is now extremely crazy, look up Kid Nation. It's wild. I specifically love Gunner Live TV. He sounds like just the worst white man. Like, Gunner, that's your name? Okay. But he's actually
Not
like really
Gunner.
funny. No, I know. I get embarrassed. I don't like to tell people that I like him and like watch his videos because, well, first of all, I'm insecure because my friend, fake past friend, dragged me for watching his videos. She was like, not you just sitting there watching a white man talk. Like, don't you get enough of that? And I was like, oh, I just think he's funny. Like, sorry. Yeah. So that was kind of
What's up
wild.
with
But
friends and dragging? Because I got
no,
dragged for my hair
what's up with that?
recently.
Your hair?
Someone told me that my hair made me look immature. And then I'm like, maybe I should just dye it brown again. Maybe I should just dye it brown.
No. Your hair is so signature to you. Also, it doesn't make you look immature, it makes you look fun.
Okay, period. I like
It
being
sounds
fun.
like this person is jealous.
It's a man, so I don't think so. I think it's just a man being a man.
I feel like this person has maybe some harmful preconceived notions about hairstyles that need to be unpacked.
Potentially.
I think maybe that.
Potentially.
Are we ready to reveal our squishes?
Oh yeah, I forgot. But I have mine.
Squish of the week.
Okay.
Give me a countdown.
3, 2, 1, go.
Mine's big.
Oh wow. That's a
She's big.
squish?
Yes, girl, this is a squish.
Oh wow.
She was in
Mine's
the
just a little
Easter
itty bitty one.
collection last year. I like
Mine's itty
yours.
bitty. Her name's
That's the
Joldy.
ideal size.
It says she's a total trickster who loves playing pranks on her friends. She's been known to hide for up to 2 hours waiting for the perfect moment to jump out and scare her friends. So keep an eye out because you never know when she's planning her next spooky prank.
I
She's just a little
love
jokester.
her. I love her.
And like
This
I don't know if you
one,
can tell, but like her wings and her ears are like reflective.
leathery. They look like
Yeah,
pleather.
almost. They're not. They're just like glittery, but the glitter's so fine, it kind of like was almost leathery.
She looks slay. I love her. And her little her little like that
Yeah,
face.
she's so cute. Mhm.
Mine, I ripped the tag off because Cameron got me it last Easter and I was going to cuddle with her. She's big, so I was going to rip that tag off. But she's a bunny. I named her Hoppy after the pink bunny that I had as a little tiny child that was named Hoppy. And on here it says, "Don't worry, be Hoppy." So it's literally
Oh.
perfect. And Cameron said
Mhm.
in the store, he was like, "I know you love your beloved childhood stuffed animal, Hoppy." And I was like, "The way that you know that about me, like
That's
he's
so
my husband,
cute.
he's supposed to know, but whenever he knows things, I'm like, I'm being perceived. That's crazy."
You and perception.
It's hard for me. It's really hard. Yeah, she doesn't look like anyone I've ever seen, but it says original Squishmallow.
That's crazy. For the viewers who are listening and can't see, Hoppy has really big, long ears.
Oh yeah, and a little tail.
And I've never seen a squishmallow with ears like that.
She's crazy. You can honestly whack somebody with her ears.
You just whacked the microphone. I heard it.
We love her. We love Miss Hoppy.
We do.
Lore time.
Time. Oh, I forgot about lore, but I have
You're
one. I have one in the
forgetting all of
queue.
our segments.
I am. I just remembered the personal update and the pop culture update. That's it.
And then your mind shut off. She said, "Let's
Yeah, I
talk."
did. But I do have one.
Sure.
Okay, this one's not too crazy, but it just sticks out in my mind because I used to work at a Barnes& and Noble Starbucks, and that was trauma in a job. That was terrible. Working at Starbucks, I worked at one in Barnes& and Noble, one at Target. Terrible. I've literally cried before because of customers, like terrible. But there was this one time that this guy, he came up to me, and he, no lie, when I tell you ordered 10 shots of espresso, just in a cup. Just 10 shots of espresso in a cup. And I was like, "Eh." So I gave him the 10 shots. Tell me why 15 minutes later he comes back, orders 10 more. Yeah. And I was like, "I don't really feel like I should be selling this to you right now, sir." Like, I don't think this is legal.
The way that people will go into a public place and face to face order the most out of pocket things consistently blows my mind. Like, I get embarrassed if I am getting two sides on something at a restaurant and I want two sides of mashed potato. Like, I won't say it out loud and I'll be bullied into ordering broccoli. But why do people just do that? Like 10 shots of espresso and then 10 more?
But I'm like, "Is he okay?" Like, 20 shots
No.
of espresso in one body is not
Mm-mm.
it's not doing well.
He needs
But I thought that was
to
really crazy.
he needs to have some kind of test done. At least on
I
social
hope.
awareness, because I would be so embarrassed to order that. And now these two bitches are talking about him on a podcast, like that, and that's what social awareness. That's what happens when you don't have it. Anyone that I know who's worked in a Starbucks has said it's the worst experience of their life.
It's terrible. Terrible.
But some really cool people work at Starbucks. Like, also everyone that I know who works at Starbucks is really cool. Like, I don't know any
Yeah.
lame people who are baristas.
No, and I feel like I still have my skills. I'm like, sometimes when they take too long to make the drink, I'm like, let me just hop back there and make it myself.
Oh, you know what? Here's something about your red hair. Here's a stereotype I believe in. Colored hair, good
What?
barista.
Yeah. Yeah. I make fire drinks.
I bet you do.
Fire.
Anyway,
What's your lore nugget, Haley?
my lore nugget, we've kind of talked about before, but I feel like it needs to be reiterated. I was a theater kid. Okay, I'm a theater kid in
Me?
recovery. I did musical theater growing up. I almost went to school for musical theater. I got over 20 callbacks for different conservatories across the country. I was going to be a Broadway baby. That's what I thought for my life and time. Turns out no. My parents, I'm sure, were relieved that I had a panic attack right before college applications closed. And I was like, you know what? I know that I'm going to get automatic admission to UT. Let me just apply as a backup. Thank God I did. And thank God I went and got my psychology degree and became a therapist, because I think if I still had the same mental, psychological situation that I have now, and I was not in therapy, going to therapy school, doing like a good, fulfilling job, but instead I was in a chaotic environment filled with actors, gay tenors, and drugs and rejection, I think I maybe would be dead in a ditch now.
Not that I did.
I fear I
No.
might. I fear I might.
No.
But thank God I didn't. But the theater kid still lives in me. I no longer identify as a theater kid, but I see how she pops out time to time, and I hate that I know things that only theater kids would know. Like the whole Ariana Grande, Ethan Slater situation.
Oh.
Everyone online is like, I
Mhm.
don't get it. Like, why did she dump her hot husband for this gross little man who looks like her brother and literally played SpongeBob in SpongeBob the Musical? I can tell you why. It's because he is a tenor who can sing well.
Uh,
And that shit is drugs for a theater kid, a little theater girl. That's drugs.
I'm sure it is. I don't know that life. I was like a wannabe theater kid, but I never made it.
And that's the thing. If you don't know that life, then you don't know. Like, I can tell instantly when I meet someone if they know theater kid lore and theater kid energy, or if they don't. I can look at you on site and know if you've caused a ruckus in an IHOP after a show at 2 a.m. Like, I just know it.
An
I
IHOP.
know. See, this
The
is
place to
theater
do that
kid
is
lore.
Waffle House.
No, not the theater kids. The suburban theater kids would go to IHOP after a show, because it was like one of the only places that was open that like a bunch of suburban moms would feel fine picking up their kids from in the middle of the night. So we would all walk over to the IHOP after our like performance, whatever. We'd be in full makeup. Like one time I was a dead zombie nurse, and I was in Adam's Family the Musical, and I walked in to the IHOP, and the woman at the counter was like she didn't know what she was in for. And it's really always that reaction. Like, I'm sure they see a horde of children just decked out in the pancake stage makeup, and they're like, Jim, somebody tell Jim in the back, get ready. They're fucking here. Because the theater kids will take over an IHOP, singing full on, breaking out into 4-part harmonies in the IHOP. Every service worker's worst nightmare as a theater kid after a show.
Yeah, my roommate, she's actually a theater kid, and living with her, Lord, singing constantly. I'm like, "Girl,
Mhm.
shut up. Ain't nobody wanna hear it no more. We already heard it about 30 times. Just shh."
Yeah, yeah. I got a reputation for doing that in the dorms. Like my freshman year, when I lived in the dorms at UT, everyone would say, because my roommate's name was also Haley, there's Haley and there's singing Haley, and they live
Not
together at the end
singing
of the
gaily.
hall. Yeah. And one time I was literally just stopping in the like little, there was like this little room with like a microwave and like a bathroom and like a couch that was on every floor of our dorm. I guess it was like the lounge
Mhm.
or whatever. I
Yeah, the
was just in
lounge.
there and this girl was like, "Hey, you sounded really good." And I'm like, "How does everybody know that it's me?
That is you.
And why are
So, we're gonna be talking about toxic positivity today. I feel like we have a lot of things to say on this topic. Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start. The topic is so broad and so big.
Well, let's start by giving a definition and maybe saying like how you've experienced toxic positivity, like what makes you upset about it.
I feel like toxic positivity is basically when people are so positive that they don't acknowledge the harsher parts of life that make up the human experience. And it kind of negates a lot of the things that make us human that
Mhm.
we need to experience to be fully fleshed out individuals. And it just makes me mad, like, all around because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a Debbie Downer. I don't know, that's just me. I love to rant and I love to be angry about something. Like, if something happens to me that makes me mad, I just wanna rant about it and then I can let it go. But
Mhm.
I feel like with toxic positivity, they don't want you to talk about it, they don't want you to rant, they want you to just keep it inside, and I'm not a keep it inside type of
Yes.
girl.
I agree. I think the whole concept of just like not seeing reality or only choosing to see the bright, fun, positive parts of your reality is a very almost like shaming thing to do. Like, at least when you're in our shoes, which is like definitely being more real and feeling really comfortable, allowing yourself to express whatever realness you're feeling in the moment.
Mhm.
Whether that is coming across as messy or annoying or whatever, like I'm gonna feel what I'm gonna feel. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. Like you said, I love a good rant. And that is actually, I'll explain a little bit later on, a protective biological response. But before we even get to that, it can be like a very shaming experience when you're just being real or naming your experience in life and someone doesn't want you to voice what you are talking about simply because it's hard for them to listen to. It, for me at least, kind of made me develop this complex of like, I am a burden, or my experiences, especially my negative
Mhm.
experiences that are unique to me as a woman, as a bisexual person, whatever. It's like they don't want to hear it. It's not something that you can share openly because it makes other people very uncomfortable and you're putting someone in a rough spot if you are vocal about these things.
Yeah, and now that you talk about it, I've literally never really seen like black people or people of color really like participating in toxic positivity as much. Like I've seen a couple, but not as many. And I feel like that's because like you have to have the option to be able to do it. And not
Mhm.
everybody has that option. And I feel like a lot of people have really harsh realities and that's just
Mhm.
something that they have to experience. And some people can choose not to focus on those types of things in life because they don't have to face them.
Yes. I think toxic positivity in some ways is a privilege. I think it
Yeah.
manifests in a very privileged way when you see people just saying like, "Well, I don't know anything about current events because it's stressful and it's negative." Okay, well, I guess you don't have to know because it doesn't affect you. Like, that to me is toxic positivity that comes from a place of privilege. But there's also this form of toxic positivity that I feel like is almost a trauma response. It's like this very avoidant response where someone in a really horrible situation, like I've seen lots and lots of clients in the past where they are in the worst position imaginable. They have every card stacked against them and they're stuck in this place of toxic positivity because if they step out of it even an inch and recognize one hard thing, it's just going to be so completely overwhelming. Everything else is going to come in and it's just going to come crashing down. And those are the people engaging with toxic positivity that I actually can like hold a space for and feel a lot of empathy
Mhm.
for because they just need like titrated feeling into their feelings to be able to experience their full reality. It's definitely the more privileged form of toxic positivity that we're going to be critiquing today, not that one.
Yeah.
I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, because I feel like, honestly, everybody at some point probably has participated in toxic positivity in some way, shape, or form because when you have nothing like, no hope, you have to be your own hope, you know? And so,
Yeah.
like, I feel like that is definitely not what we're talking about, but it's definitely more of, like, the privileged kind.
Mhm. It's like putting on the blinders. Like, for example, my best friend, my maid of honor, like one of the closest people in my life, just went through this huge event. I'm not going to share like details because I don't want to put this out here without her permission. She lost a lot of relationships that were really close to her because she had brought up something that made her uncomfortable with this group of people. And the messaging was kind of like, "Oh, yeah, like, fuck you for that, like, we don't like that," but then it was never spoken of again. And she was like, "Wait, what? Like, y'all obviously don't like this about me or don't like this part of my life, like, can we talk about it? Can we have some sort of repair over it?" And they acted like she was crazy. They were like, "We don't need to make it a thing, girl. Like, it's all love and light, girl. Like, da 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 da, girl." And
I
it
don't
was
know.
the toxic, positive thing of like, "Wait, why are you angry? Why are you demanding that we talk about this? Why are you actually naming something that's happening right now? Just no, buy into our avoidant, toxically positive mindset." And it was horrible. It was so deeply invalidating for her.
Yeah, that's terrible. Like, I feel like that's really like, especially on the internet, that what happens is like people don't want to talk about negative things at all. And like, of course, people want to be like a positive space and they want to be a positive place on the internet. But I love when people are real. Like, I was actually watching Alexandra Roslin today. Her channel is really fun. She talks about books and she's amazing. But she was like, "Yeah, like, I just want my channel to be, like, a positive space." So I really wasn't talking about when I was really, like, feeling isolated, when I moved away from my family, and I was like, "But I would have loved to have, like, seen that." And, of course, not
Mhm.
everybody's able to, like, be open and express that on the internet. I understand that. But, like, now hearing her talk about it, I'm like, "Okay," like, it makes her seem more relatable and not just, like, all these different aesthetic B-roll clips that are really cute, but, like, not my life.
I totally see that, especially on BookTube. I think there's this thing with the lifestyle content creators of BookTube,
Yeah.
especially, where it's like, don't talk about anything negative. We don't want to hear anything negative. I'm your best friend on the internet. Let's just be positive. Of course, I'm going to be your comfort YouTuber if I don't talk about anything real or anything negative or blah, blah, blah. And of course, as a content creator, it's about finding this perfect balance of not oversharing. Like, you don't wanna be too real on the internet
Yeah.
because that's very dangerous, but you also don't wanna go to this toxically positive place of just, like, not sharing anything in your life that's real, but you also don't want to be seen as a Debbie Downer. And
Yeah.
not being any one of those is so hard. It's like striking the perfect balance. Sometimes it feels impossible, at least for me, that it's like when I'm being real or talking about something difficult, I have to constantly police myself and make sure number one, I'm not giving away too much things that aren't for other people yet, things that I haven't processed yet. And also that I'm not going to come across as a Debbie Downer and, nobody's going to want to be around me. And I think even if you're not on the internet creating content, that's still something that's on people's minds. Like I have that thought a lot, especially in a group setting where it's not just like my close
Yeah.
little people, but it's like a bigger group. I'm always thinking like, oh, I don't want to be the person who's always, calling out whatever or bringing up something difficult or something like that. It just makes you feel like bringing up things that are real experiences and important to you personally are a nuisance or a burden for other people to hold space for.
I completely agree. And like honestly, as I said, I was talking to my mom earlier today, and she was like, one of the things I love about you, Deja, is like you will like someone will bring up a subject and you will call them out so quick and you'll just go off. She's like, that's why I call you my little firecracker, because you're just like and she was like, "I don't like it when you do it to me, but I've actually grown to love that." And I feel like that is me, like, I'm just like, if you bring up something, like, I'm gonna go in. Like, that's just how I am, but especially on the internet, I feel like I have to, like, take that back a lot because, like, even, like, there are booktubers who are really successful who, like, mostly
You
talk
talk about
about negative things, but, like, they're
yeah.
known with negativity. Like, that is, like, their
Mhm.
brand, and not, like, being real. That's not who they are branded to be. They're branded as being
Mhm.
negative, and, like, nobody really wants to be that.
And the irony is I feel like the people who are real in the sense of they're talking about genuinely important things and not just like la 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 vlog vlog vlog. They're branded as negative, and the people who are deep in toxic positivity are branded as real. Like she's just like me.
Yeah,
She has my life. She's my comfort person. Like those are the descriptors that I hear for a lot of content creators that I would say give at least bordering on toxically positive vibes.
I agree 100%, but I also feel like maybe that's because, like, they do relate to that person because maybe they themselves also are able to have the privilege of being toxically positive, and I
I
feel like
agree.
it's kind of like a feedback loop where people have the privilege, so they relate to other people who aren't necessarily talking about things that are really real, and they just kind of feed back into each other over and over again, and nobody is really, like, getting into their heads, like, these are real things that we need to discuss, and every
Mhm.
time somebody does talk about those things, they're like, "Oh, you're just being negative," but, like, these are real issues that we need to talk about.
Yeah. And I feel like it's easy in this conversation to say that we're like villainizing the people who are engaging with this. I think they're a victim of their own stuff. Like this narrative is not only
Yeah.
hurting other people, it's also hurting them. Like, imagine living in that toxically positive world. Like, that is your experience, that is your worldview. And then, like, something bad happens to you. If you lose your job, if you break up with your partner or whatever, like something hard happens and you can't be genuine about it, if it's just the like, pick your head up, girl, like it's okay, like that sucks. Like those very like shallow kind of things, that's horrible. If I couldn't be with my own experiences and I was like, just stay positive, just go on a run, just, self-care and get over it. Like that's only half of the battle, really. Like self-care and being positive and whatever can make your experience better, yes, but from a mental health professional, you have to do the processing too. And this is where that part comes in that I referenced earlier, where it is a completion of a protective biological response to rant about something, to yell about something. In the context of fight or flight, we, in a traumatic situation, when we go into crisis mode and lizard brain takes over, we go into fight, flight, sometimes freeze, which is where we completely are overwhelmed and shut down. A newer response that has been coming up is fawn, where it's kind of like this more cognitive, like people pleasing response. And that has developed as, we're humans instead of animals who are just going to fight and attack and go to this predatory response or flee as a prey animal. But using our fight response does not always look like using your hands or, kicking somebody or scratching somebody or something like that. The more developed human fight response that we have now is with our voice. And a lot of the times when I'm tracking trauma with a client who has not been able to defend themselves, or who has been feeling deeply invalidated, or who grew up with a parent who was emotionally abusive, a lot of their trauma lives in their neck and in their vagus nerve. It always comes back around to that. It's somewhere in the middle where we're having understanding for all parties, but we're not invalidating or oppressing historically oppressed people. Like, that's always what it is. We can be understanding, we can hold a space, we can da da da, but we can also look out for other people. That's just what it always comes back to, for me, at least.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that people just don't wanna have nuance in things anymore. Like, people just wanna have black and white, it's this or that, but nothing's
Mhm.
ever this or that. It's always somewhere in the middle. Everything's a spectrum. I'm actually taking a personality class right now, and that's what I've learned. Everything is a spectrum. We're
It
all just
really
on a
is.
spectrum.
And avoidant coping, from what I've seen as a therapist, especially a therapist for younger people, majority of the people that I see are under 30 years old. Avoidant coping has taken off. I mean, every young person that I've seen in my practice engages in some type of avoidant coping. I think it's the attention span problem that we're seeing with Gen Z specifically. It's the TikTok brain rot of it all. Like, people are just very, very checked out and avoidant because they can escape into this world where it's just constant stimulation. You don't have to be with anything for too long. Don't worry. If you're overwhelmed, just scroll. So, going to this place of toxic positivity is similar to avoidance. It is an avoidance response because it allows the person engaging with that mechanism to sidestep emotional connection and authenticity when things get hard. And that is kind of what my friend was going through. Is she was trying to have this connection. She was begging them, like, don't you see how this is hurtful for me? Don't you see how I would want to have a processing conversation about a disagreement with you instead of just like saying it's all good, girl, like throw it to the wind, whatever. um they didn't see it at all because it was too difficult for them to have that level of confrontation. And that's why I think it's people like you and I who are able to talk about these things, because obviously neither of us are very afraid of confrontation. I think if people have an issue with confrontation or they already skew more avoidant, it's so much easier to fall into the trap of toxic positivity because you already want to avoid that emotional activation.
Hmm. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
And when you think about it that way, it really does prevent personal growth. Like, if you're not having
Mhm.
authentic connection, the people who are engaging with this mindset or this like adage of good vibes only, blah, blah, you're not going to grow because you're not going to look at the hard things. You have to spend time with the hard things in order to grow. That's just the way that it is. So I feel like, yeah, I do have a lot of empathy for myself and other people who just can't fucking stand being met with toxic positivity. It's so shaming, it's so judgmental, it's so invalidating. But I also have empathy for the people who are engaging with it because they're stagnant, they're probably feeling stuck, they're not growing, they're probably invalidating themselves, and they're getting
Mhm.
zero connection really. If you're living in like happy la la land in your mind, yeah, I'm sure that like projects a beautiful image, but that's not a place where I would want my system to be 100% of the time. If you are listening to this wondering, am I toxically positive? Have I been caught in this trap? I have put together some warning signs where you could maybe catch yourself if this is you, if you're engaging in any of this. If you find yourself often being avoidant or going to avoidant coping mechanisms, maybe look into that. Notice if you are invalidating yourself. Notice if you are brushing off things that are actually really important to you. You're kind of like explaining your way out of being with them. Or maybe you're doing that to other people. Maybe you find it really hard to be with other people when they're in uncomfortable or like negative, hard situations. So you kind of brush off their problems or just motivate them by telling them just be positive. If you hide your true authentic feelings about a situation in lieu of being positive or not making other people uncomfortable, you could be caught in it. If you find yourself minimizing your own feelings or other people's feelings, or if you are actively judging or shaming people for not having a completely positive outlook on their life, then you could be engaging in toxic positivity. If you're being impacted by toxic positivity, you might be feeling guilty about being sad, being angry, being disappointed, really just going through normal, negatively, quote unquote, skewed emotions. You might feel guilty about that or felt shamed by other people in your life because of going through that. If you find yourself hiding or trying to like kind of put a veneer on how you feel towards certain people, those might be like more toxically positive people that will shame you if you are authentic. Or if you find yourself trying to get over things, that's something that I hear from my clients a lot. It's like, "Ugh, I just need to get over it." Well, if you're not over
Mhm.
it, then maybe your body's telling you that you shouldn't be over it. So maybe you should sit with that and actually let yourself not be over it and see what happens, because that's already what your body is doing. So maybe you should take
Mhm.
a look at warning signs, notice if that's showing up for you. Do you identify with any of those?
I feel like definitely the getting over it part. Like, I'm definitely
Hmm.
like a, I just need to get over it person, like, just move on
Yeah,
from it.
same.
I feel
And
like
I
a
feel
lot of
like
us are guilty of that.
yeah, I try to not put that on other people, but I kind of have a different standard for myself. Like if my client's going through something, or if you or Cameron or whoever is going through something, I would never tell you to get over it. But for myself, it's different. Like for
Yeah,
some reason, I will just shame myself for that.
100%.
So, in lieu of being toxically positive, what can we do instead? How can we still be optimistic? Well, there are alternatives. Instead of just putting this like blanket positivity on everything, we can try to go to the middle. We can try to find the like gray area of holding both, where we can say the like very cliche bullshit phrase that I don't really like, but it's okay to not be okay. That's kind of like the attitude that I would like to
Yeah.
have about everything. You can regulate a negative emotional experience. You can be with it. You can learn to manage it. It doesn't have to completely overwhelm or lead to destructive behaviors, but we don't deny them. We let them come up in like a way that is manageable for us instead. Or if you find yourself like judging other people or like taking part in the shaming, maybe listen. Maybe do a little bit less talking and giving support that way and just listening. So, some very like toxically positive statements that you might say to someone is like, just stay positive. It could be worse because of XYZ. At least you're not XYZ. Things happen for a reason. Choose happiness, things like that. Instead of saying that, you could say something like, I'm listening. I'll be here no matter what. That must be really hard for you, sad for you. That must make you really angry. Empathetic emotion reflections like that. Or asking how you can help. Really just like listening and asking questions rather than telling what someone should do, based on toxically positive values. Or you could be like totally projecting your avoidance on somebody who cannot be avoiding what they're sitting with at the current moment. So, a little bit of advice from a mental health professional and hopefully a little bit of self reflection. Who knew this would be such an educational episode when we're
It really
inebriated?
was. I feel educated.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad I could help.
Yeah. I feel like I've learned a lot.
Well, that's what we're here for, I guess. It's not always just like a cool, chill gab. Sometimes you learn something.
We like to throw in a little education here and there.
And you get that for free, unless you're on Patreon and you get to see our faces while we learn. If you would like to do that next time around, or maybe you want to go back and watch this episode if you're just listening to it, you can join our Patreon and get the video version of this podcast 24 hours earlier than it comes out on audio. It's only $2 a month. Okay, Netflix is going
$2.
crazy. I don't know why I looked at my Netflix and it was gonna charge me $25 a month. That's insane. Um, you can yeah, I know. You can cancel your Netflix and just have Gabbing It Up Patreon videos, which are hours and hours of content for $2
Mhm.
a month. Two singular dollars. 200
That's
cents.
literally half of a cup of coffee if you're getting, like, an Americano. Not even
Yeah.
anything good for real.
And if you just want to support the pod, since we are not currently sponsored or monetized on YouTube, supporting on Patreon is the best way to support us so we can keep
Mhm.
making this and producing the episodes for you because it does take a lot of time and a lot of editing
And
and
effort.
all the things. Yeah. So thank you to our patrons. Thank you for supporting. If you want to watch the video, please go check us out over there. And thanks for the gab.
Don't be drab.
And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.